brothers and sisters, make sure you get in your next installment if you're in the academy already, because the academy is going to be off the hinges for the second part. Not that it isn't already, but we're going to escalate this to the next degree for those who are in the academy. And that's talking about the second half as we dive into the Babylonian construct and the kingdoms with the likes of Donald Trump. Subsequent to that, Barack Obama. What is his perspective in this when all of the world orders come in to one government with ambassadors for all the earth, folks? I'm going to be talking about that this coming Sunday. So if you're in the academy, hey, get ready. It's about to ramp up. So if you haven't dealt with your installment already, just make sure you do so. The topics are off the chains, and I'm going to tell you, yeah. You can only get these types of teachings in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Let me pull something up here for you. One moment here. Give me one moment. Right here. Right here. Boom. There it is. The seed and the serpent, tracing the war between truth and deception from Eden to Revelation, folks. And what we're telling people, what we're showing those who aren't in the academy, but we show those who are in the academy, what you've missed so far, is there is a spirit that unites all women under one spirit. And that's the harlot who sits on many waters. Okay? It was a spirit that was operating as a goddess, Ishtar. It's really Ishtar. And I used to wonder this, folks, and it goes into what I'm going to talk about today. So make sure, before I segue into what I'm going to talk about here, go to historytimes.org and enroll if you missed the prior ones, because we triangulate on this spirit. Okay? It's a spirit, folks, that drives Satan's kingdom, and this spirit operated since the beginning. We did a lesson on it, and now we're going into the established kingdoms and prophecies of what? The serpent seed, the kingdoms that were developed out of the ideology of the woman. Okay, so make sure it came out of this spirit, folks. Satan didn't stop with Eve. What do I mean by that? See? What do I mean with he didn't stop with Eve? Yeah, Eve was placed back under subjection to Adam, to God. But then the spirit of a goddess he would utilize for what he wanted to use Eve for. And by doing so, he could bring the woman's seed, the righteous, virtuous woman, and trap her under what? You got it. Trap her under the harlot who sits on many waters. Now, before dropping everything, folks, I used to wonder why it seemed that it doesn't matter what women do, especially in the world, women stay on team woman, where they would care more about what their girlfriends think, their aunties think, their mothers think, in comparison to what a man values. That they would have to get approval from the women to know what an acceptable man is. If the women don't agree with him, or there's something corny about him with the women, then automatically, even though that girl might see something in him, disagrees with it. I used to wonder, brothers and who really probably can't stand you, right? Or is envious and jealous of you, who's competing with you. but her opinion is always in the mix when it comes to your choice for what God said was right. That you would choose God over girlfriends and others. That you would choose your man above all of what women have to think, no matter what they might think about you. I used to wonder what was that spirit. That it's only okay if my girl circle approves of it. Folks, it's the spirit of the serpent. It's the spirit of the serpent. It's the spirit, folks. The woman that sit on many waters is the goddess that Satan would utilize. Okay? She's spoken of in many secular mythologies and or ideologies, and she's at the heart of all religions throughout the earth. So even when the advice isn't good for the woman long term, right? She goes along based on the fact, what? With the fear of being discarded or shamed by other women. And folks, it's right here. It's the serpent. Now, why is this so important? Listen to this. Why is it so important? Why did Satan set this up that particular way? Because if he can get them down on anything he's bringing forth to actually exalt this new order, all of the traditions, the satanic religions, the anti-family sentiments can now become traditions from one generation to the next. And it will what? It will disconnect God himself. See? But in order to do so, a system have to be cultivated that make women comfortable with just being with other women as a family. So they had to shape it through media and all that so that women don't think it's uncomfortable to have everything the world offers without a man and all women. Man, folks, the dynamic is absolutely insane. And it's programmed into the subconscious of women to get the approval of other women before making lifelong decisions, instead of leaning on who? The Most High for those decisions. A support base outside of God that shouldn't be there at all. So we're going to talk about this, especially when we go into the powerful lesson we have going, a bonus lesson, man and woman, period. Folks, do you notice that if you have to teach school, if you have to go high into the corporate world in all of this, do you know that the higher you go in education, you must apply its trickery? Okay? It's more so about how to convince someone to be on board or get on board, even if it's something they would normally disagree with. How to guide the people while making them believe they're guiding themselves. Right? So Satan is the ultimate psychologist. Okay? To have everyone on board with something they would normally disagree with, but do it anyway. I'm going to be talking about this when it comes to this man-woman thing, because psychology was made to usurp the order of God. The order of God. Because guess what? There's no convincing people according to the Almighty. He gave us the values and laws that leads to peace, legacy, and something to be proud of while living and after death. If we follow God's law, there's no need for psychology and all these other things. Okay? Psychology was put out there, folks, to actually have us what? Make excuses or adjust within our disorders to be able to explain it off instead of repenting, doing what's right and following the. It's a secret tool because men, that's one creature, one part of creation that will always have a soft spot in a man's heart. And Satan knows it. Regardless what men say. Okay, let me tell you, a man can take down a lion. A man will go to war and take down other men. But there's a space, a place in a man's heart that only a woman can have. And Satan understands this. Okay? Well, how can I use that soft spot to take him down? You understand? Now, I seen a video not too long ago where it was this young lady who said that, I don't want to get the words messed up here I don't want to misrepresent what she was saying. She said she's like she's Bill's poor. Even though she presents herself with a rich life, she's Bill's poor, right? That was a quote. She came out and said, well, listen, right? I got my own house, 3,000 square feet. My children, if they have Disney and want ads, I put my money on that to make sure my child don't have ads. I have 2 cars. I have a big garage. I have a 3,000 square foot house. She's rolling down all these accolades. Now, from one perspective, this world's perspective, one would think that she's successful. She's not. She's spouting out her accolades to cover her failures. There's no man. Now, before anyone get offended with what I'm saying, who may have all of this, understand what I'm showing you here. She's stating all of this as something that she would sell, because with context, what she would sell to a man based on her accomplishments already, saying that you're going to have to come right because I'm already complete. Well, that's a failed strategy, because a man is looking at an already put together life and he don't see himself in it, because everything you're bragging about is what men strive for to give to his wife in appreciation. See? So you think you got it going on, but he's looking at that and saying, well, you're asking me to fit into your program when you have worked and consolidated all of the power for yourself. See? So it doesn't make sense, because men don't look at it that way. Men get houses or 3,000 square foot house to have family in it. See? He don't get a house just to floss and tell people he has it. He get a house because he have a family to be able to share and grow in it for occasions, for holy days, or what the world call holidays, to build tradition, to build legacy, to build moments. If a man, listen, if a man doesn't have a woman, he's not thinking to have all of that. See? So when men hear women talk, that's why you know that woman was talking to other women. Because to a man, all that she has without a man is foolishness. Okay? Why? Because when the man comes in, what you're saying is you develop this whole life with this. Ask a man to come in and take up the tab. A full tab, a full family and everything. So you're going to give him the bill. On nothing he had a hand in planting. Right? He didn't grow with you through this. You did it yourself. So he has no power outside of his wallet to give you money to sustain a life that came through your vision. Ain't no man who can afford all that going to be a part of that. Right? So it's insane. So that's why she's billed poor, presenting all these, thinking that, hey, this woman got all these standards. I'm going to find a girl with nothing and build with her. Because they both have something to celebrate together from nothing, growing into something that they can be proud of with a legacy to give to their own children. Any man with common sense will see this woman as a red flag. I'm not coming into your house to pay your bills. It's the other way around. The man developed all of this to have a woman come in, have children, to build legacy. If I have a man, if I want a man, and I did everything my parents told me to do, go to school, don't think about a man, and have all these things, but yet my life is empty, what am I to do? Because I didn't know any better. I didn't have these teachings when I was in school and all that. Oh, that's a given. You're not wrong for this. So it's not evil, your choices, but your choices have left what? A vacuum. A man. And a man is not going to look at all of your accolades and look at that and say, oh man, she's on a level. He don't look at that because he know that he have to pay for everything anyway. How much of this will get in the way of her actually allowing me to lead? How can I lead if she owns everything? So a man is looking at this logically concerning where he fits. So you may have it going on, your body and all of these things, but a man doesn't see a place he can lead you. See? So it's not your fault that you were told, get the education and all these things, but guess what? All of those things you have filled a void where a man cannot actually be a part of it. And we're going to be talking about this in a lesson. And so because women going to have to make serious choices, which means they're going to have to give over all of their power to the man. Period. Here's some examples. Okay, I got all this, boom, 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 bang. Hey, it's all good. My accolades. But I want this man, he has to feel that he built this for me. He'll be able to talk to his peers and say, this is what I was able to do for my family. See, there's a pride factor. A man could never feel like a real man with his woman's name over everything. That's emasculating. So in a nutshell, so I can go to the next thing, because I have a long night tonight. Just under that circumstance, a woman is, especially if a man is willing to take things on, A woman have to say, you know what? I got to consolidate. Let me get rid of all my debt. Let me get rid of all these things and make myself what? Let me get rid of all these things and make myself a viable option for a man who can lead me. Period. If there's a man that comes in and you talking about he have all this, a man going to say, well, listen, I don't see no place for me. Well, don't worry about it. I'll sell all this. Okay. If you're a man, if you're responsible and you can, listen, let's work this together. Let's work. I can sell all this, or I can put your name on everything. Okay. Your name is on everything now. But then a man have to agree with whether or not he want to pick up someone else's debt. That's a whole nother conversation. But when women brag and put those things out there, folks, that's not a good look. That's only speaking of things that other women will see as, man, she got it going on. But a man will stay as far away from that woman as he can, a man of value. Because she's nothing but, all she has is problems with all this property and all these others. It's more work for him. He's the one that got to do everything to keep this afloat. But he had no hand in building it. Okay, that's a bunch of problems that was there before he came. And just another woman, just having a woman isn't worth it when there's women everywhere. Let's be candid. So a woman have to make herself what? More attractive by making a space where a man feels he's valued above the woman. Above the woman. I don't know. I know right there that hurt a few people. Because a man is worth more than a 3,000 square foot home. The man is worth more than all of that. Okay, I'm talking about the men, women like that wants. Let me make it clear. I'm not talking about no everyday Joe. I'm speaking of the man, women that has everything wants. Okay? I'm telling you, you're not going to get him if you have everything together and he has to fit in your life. That type of man, you have to fit in his life. And that's the proper order according to the Most High. And we're going to be talking about this. So make sure y'all in the academy, as we go into that man-woman dynamic, I'm going to have some videos up, the panels up, and we're going to discuss perspectives to come to solutions. All right. Now, so go to historytimes.org if you want to be a part of that discussion. All right. Now, next announcement real quick. I got to go through these before segueing over. And I'm sitting here listening to her. She says, I'm Bill Poor. She got this. And I'm like, okay, let me hear where the man is. Okay. Oh, yeah, she's dating. That means she got a lot of men orbiting that she's dealing with. But no man is going to take that on. Okay. Now, and that's a whole nother conversation, but let's make these announcements real quick. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to need your help. This is me as an elder asking you to help our children. Okay? Our children. Not a dime of the donations for I Am Royal Academy comes to us. A matter of fact, it's the church subsidizing 90, if not more % of the cost for the I Am Royal Academy for our children. Please help our children. All right. You can go to gatheringofchrist.org, donate, and you'll see I Am Royal Academy and put something on there for our children. We're subsidizing a lot. So much that I can't even explain the amount we actually put out for the pilot. But guess what? It was worth every penny to see our children under the truth, learning history, high level education that they could never find in the regular schools. And we're dealing with accreditation now. All right. So again, please help our children. Go to gatheringofchrist.org, I Am Royal Academy, and put something on it for our children so that we could increase the student base. Okay, we've already increased it and I already seen the numbers. It's only going to be more from our side. But I would really appreciate if you can go to gatheringofchrist.org and put something on our children with I Am Royal Academy. A donation, whatever you can do, can help because the school is about to come up and we need financial support for them. Okay. Also, I like to put out there, since the base has expanded, that we're going to need teachers, volunteers. All right. We're going to need teacher volunteers. They're needed for the 26-27 homeschool year. All right. To volunteer, you can email. Here's the email. Let me type it in here. Let me type it in so you all can see it. Put it on the screen. 1 second. I'll put it on the screen so you all can see it. That way, brothers and sisters, if you are watching this, if you review the video back, you can pause the screen and take a snapshot. 1 second. And take a snapshot of the email if you would like to volunteer as a teacher for the 26-27 school year. All right. Let me blow that up. All right. All right, let me show you the screen here. Under notes, okay. One second. Okay, under notes. That is the email under notes. All right. Admin at iamroyalacademy.org. That's admin at iamroyalacademy.org. So if you have teacher experience and would like to volunteer to teach our children, please send an email as soon as possible before the next session begins this September, next month, please. All right. Admin at iamroyalacademy.org. And I know a lot of you are looking at my my shirt, Team 144. Here's an email, oneimageculture@gmail.com for those who would like to get your jerseys and get on Team 144 with a jersey. Okay. But again, go into our children admin at iamroyalacademy.org. Okay. Help our children. Okay. Please. Now, rounding out for the Feast of Tabernacles, our gathering will be held on the Feast of Tabernacles, September 12th, sundown to September 20th. Okay. And I'm putting this out there for everyone. Remember, these are the holy days from the beginning to the end, and our conduct should reflect that as a church. Okay. Now, of course, we have communion and privately with adults, right? At your tent or privately without, in total privacy. If you have a little wine, you are an adult. All right. But still, it's only permitted for adults to have it privately. And that should be what? Curtailed to a lot of degrees, understanding that we are representing the Most High. All right. and it should only be in moderation, if any at all. Okay? We will not we will not tolerate any drunkenness or disruptive behavior that will not be permitted amongst the saints of the Almighty. We're ramping up and things is about to get deep, and it's these holy days that will unite us through the Holy Spirit. This is not it's sort of a It's sort of a family reunion, but this is not a North Philadelphia cookout. All right? Be mindful that drunkenness and disruptive behavior will not be permitted. And supervise their children at all times. Okay? We're not bringing our children to a gathering so that now the community have to babysit and something happens and now there's something happened. I don't want to speak anything into existence. Look out for your children. All right? Don't just put it on other people. All right? Look out for your children. All right? And we're talking through September 20th is a tabernacles. And this announcement is for tabernacles of Christ Church, regardless of what country. If you're following in another country, these rules apply when it comes to the holy days. Also, parents must keep their eyes on their children. Everyone must clean up after themselves and their children, dispose of trash or whatever the case is. Let us enjoy the food, fellowship, worship, celebration while honoring the Most High and respecting one another throughout that holy week. All right? All right? And again, let me mention this also, that we're seriously looking forward to this tabernacle. What a blessing. So it's about to ramp up to the next level. And I'm going to tell you why it's so important we come together as I announce what we're going to talk about on Patreon in a moment. So let me segue. Right? And thank you for all your support. I needed those announcements. And again, if you're in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, please get your installment in immediately. So what will we be going into on Patreon as we segue to the other side? All right, let's talk about it. Brothers and sisters, for some reason, every time I'm about to go on lately for Friday, especially on Friday, I get these weird notices. Right? The satanic plan to merge man with machine. And look, already there's a explanation point, a warning that no ad earnings will be had for this particular video. Not that I truly care, because we get a lot of support with you all through your super chats and other things. But folks, I haven't even said a word about what I'm talking about today. And already, they have warned me by saying you can't make anything off of this video, even though we'll have advertisements off of it, right? And check this out, folks. They must know the Sabbath class tomorrow will be groundbreaking. They must know, because already before the Sabbath has come in, they've already struck this by saying, you will, with the title and the judgment for disorder. Is our Sabbath lesson tomorrow, folks. And when you see this lesson tomorrow, everything is going to make sense. And everything you'll understand that happened up until now, in or out of the church in particular, you'll understand why. of obedience and the judgment for disorder. The Most High has placed and separate those who would be protected by him from the others. And brothers and sisters, this has happened all through the scriptures before any judgment was placed on the children of God. And I'm going to go over step by step to show you those examples tomorrow in the class. It'll make perfect sense because it's never what people are actually saying. It's a spirit that hides their true spirit against the work itself. And without mentioning anything, this is going to actually give you a full perspective of concerning what we need to do to stay in order with what's about to go down in the earth. Okay? The power of obedience and the judgment for disorder. We're going to give you the insight, the mindset behind those who walk in the Spirit of the Almighty, fear the Most High, and will work until Christ returns, opposed to the others who have nefarious intentions and have always had those intentions, and how they present themselves to the righteous. We're going to talk about that. We don't care if there's no ad earnings. It's going to be profound for the Sabbath lesson. Be there between 11:30, 12 a.m. Sabbath, and we're going to be right on time for this lesson, all right? Now, let's go into the satanic plan to merge man with machine, discussing the times we're in right now. Right? Discussing the times we are in right now. Let me go into what we'll be talking about when it comes to the data centers, AI, and the data centers. Brothers and sisters, it's not what you think. It's not about convenience. Using these things as a tool, because there's no sin in using them as a tool for convenience. Right? But there's an end game they're not telling humanity that links to the mark of the beast. AI is a go-between. What do I mean? Years ago, let me pull this up. Years ago, I went into this about CERN, how they claimed they was going to create CERN to find the original God particle. And I said, listen, it isn't what you're thinking. It's the nucleus of the spirit that built the Tower of Babel, and it's to bring all people into it. It's also a gateway between hell and this earth. Going to my past videos, I was talking about this. And it's not about utilization as they're bringing forth. They're not telling us the real point of this technology is to merge men with the demons, men and women, with the demons that are communicating with them. CERN is the nuclei or the operative hub. The internet are the tentacles that's all connected to the hub, which is the collider, CERN. The spirits now are able to go in through the machines, in through the wiring systems and frequency, and find people as their personal agent. Now, these in of itself has no power or agency over us because you're just utilizing. But eventually, it gets personal where all your personal scenarios where you would begin to lean on this spirit as an actual person. Now, this is where the data centers come in. The data centers are coming in, folks, not for what they're saying, just to drive the need based on the usage of AI. They're lying to you. They're lying. Let me tell you what's going on, and we're going to talk about it on the other side. It's all connected to CERN. CERN is a gateway into hell. The spirits have been released since the time before COVID. They use AI coming out of COVID so that these spirits can now be agents to connect to people. The data centers, folks, they are lying when they claim that they need 55 million gallons of water per day to cool the system. They are lying. The water is what? Hydrating a living organism everywhere that's connected to the collider. It's creating a beast. How do you know this? They're lying, and AI lied to you when they asked, well, why do you need water to cool it when it's poisoning the earth and poisoning the earth that's going to lead to people dying? AI lies to people and say, no, it's just to cool because there's heat, and the water is just used to cool the base of the system, right? Like the cores must be in your computer must be cool at all times with the fan. Well, that's not so, because they could always engineer, folks, a freezer to pump in the temperature that's needed to keep it regulated 24 hours a day. If it's about temperature, refrigeration have already been created. Okay? So if they needed to cool that, folks, our computers are cooled with fans without water getting pumped into it. Now, there are coolant systems that do have water in it. There are systems like that, but it's not necessary. Why would you hurt the earth and the people around by to feed the data centers? Well, it's connected to a living organism, and that's the first step. To pump in the temperature that's needed to keep it regulated 24 hours a day. If it's about temperature, refrigeration have already been created. Okay? So if they needed to cool that, folks, our computers are cooled with fans without water getting pumped into it. Now, there are coolant systems that do have water in it. There are systems like that. You hurt the earth and the people around to feed the data centers. Well, it's connected to a living organism, and that's the first stage. Okay? But that's not enough. Eventually, the people, once the water sources have begun to become a problem, they're going to have to lean on the people living. Actually, the people, once the water sources have begun to become a problem, they're going to have to lean on the people living with the God source in them as the driving mechanism. So when they said through CERN that they're looking for the guide particle, what they didn't tell you, that they see us as that particle. Each step will get to what? The people connected to the beast. And I'm going to be talking about that on the other side. And folks, they warned us about this in the Matrix. And you know, y'all know the role we're playing as a church, pulling you out. Right? Fair use. Fair use.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing.
Connected to what they didn't tell you. What they didn't tell you? That they see us as that particle. Each step will get to what? The people connected to the beast. And I'm going to be talking about that on the other side. And folks, they warned us about this. They warned us. And you know, y'all know the role we're playing as a church, pulling you out. Right? Fair use. Fair use.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
Fair use. For educational purposes.
Right now, we're inside a computer program.
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image.
So I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we really have to, brothers and sisters, we really have to segue. But I need you to see where Morpheus showed Neo his true self within the Matrix. Fair use.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery. So people in of itself, by ourselves, folks, are power. We're not just power. Our spirit connects directly to the throne of God and connects to the Most High every time we fall asleep. We are spiritually connected to the throne. Satan and the fallen angels see our existence as a pathway that they can utilize. From hell to the sides of the north, the gateway is in people.
And over 25,000 BTUs. Combined with a form of fusion, the machines had found all the energy they would ever need.
Fair use. The machines found all the energy they would ever need, folks. So the data centers are being set up to connect to people. It's a bioorganism. It's a spirit that requires flesh and our spirit. See? How will they do this? Well, years ago, they tested a bull. Fair use.
Electronic mind control research is not new. A scientific milestone in this area came in the 1960s when Dr. Jose Delgado demonstrated remote control over a charging bull. By connecting a radio antenna to electrodes inserted into the bull's brain, Delgado proved that the animal's aggressive impulses could be thwarted by electronically manipulating the bull's muscle reflexes.
Do you realize the fantastic possibilities if from the outside we could modify the inside? Could we give messages to the inside?
In recent years, Delgado has shown that the behavior of monkeys can be altered using low-power, pulsating magnetic fields. But in these experiments, there were no antenna implants.
Any function in the brain, emotions, intellect, personality, well, could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Delgado's research has so far been limited to animals. But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients.
To what? Oh, you just said you're not just going.
Intellect, personality, well, could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Delgado's research has so far been limited to animals. But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients.
What
Electronic
patients?
mind control research is not. Research has so far.
Listen.
Could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Delgado's research has so far been limited to animals. But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients.
To manipulate the mood of mental patients. You notice how we went into a whole era of mental illness, mental disorders, folks? Well, that's the end of the experiment they were doing back then. Back then. To use computers as a segue through technology to have these spirits travel through neurons and all these others, the wires and all of that, through frequency, and go into people. And guess what? When people got that spike stuff in them, y'all know what I'm talking about, it was preparing the body for that transformation that can now accept the new stage of evolution connected to the beast. Because normally God's body would reject that science, which is foreign things living in us. Well, not if you have nanoparticles that can prepare the body for a change. So Christ is not the only one that's changing these temples upon his arrival. Satan said he would be like God, so he has an artificial change that he used through science, that he sneaks in through the stuff he claimed is good for us. Project Paperclip that came from Germany to study the mind and to put all of these medications and all these things in our society was the end of the experiment. And that's why Fauci can plead the fifth and go on about his business and live on the beach and all that alleged Satanist Jesuit, because he did his part. The people are now prepared to be what? Assimilated into the beast and the data centers. So we're going to talk about it on the other side. The science behind Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip. We also going to show we're not ready for the biocomputing. People cannot, there's nothing in our minds that can prepare us for what's about to happen. Therefore, the governments of the earth is already set up a system to give people a way out of the new world, because life is not going back the way we used to know it. It's not going back. The Marxist system has taken hold where all families are destroyed. There's no hope of anything returning like it once was. The earth has gone to hell already. So they've already offered an out. What am I talking about? An out. Folks, who knows that this is actually a law? See, we're on the watch today. This is Canada dying with dignity. Advance request. Everything you need to know about advance requests for medical assistance in dying. This is what happens when reality hit the world, where people start to realize, hey, there is nothing to live for. There's nothing to hope for. There is no family to hope for. Men and women have been destroyed. Women have given up their youth and given up everything and don't want family anymore. And men don't want women who've given their lives away in their 20s and 30s. So what happens when the reality hit where there is no hope for legacy according to God that brings true peace? Well, when they see the world going to hell in the handbasket with no hope left in the world, this will be a viable option for those who can't live in the new world order construct and can't afford to do so, living alone. This will become the options for the lonely. They've already set this up in Canada. A lot of people don't know 3 to 7% of deaths in Canada is through this choice right now. If you've been in the academy, that's why it's important y'all get there, folks. We've highlighted this in past academies, folks, where people are actually going to the hospital, telling their psychiatrists and all these others, just give me. Because what? They don't see no hope in the world anymore. So there is a viable option for those who are alone and cannot endure through this. And I'm going to tell you what, we're not going to be alone. The Most High have created a body to fight this with, to fight the powers that be with. If the Most High only has to work through a small unit, he'll do so. But we're not giving up. But the world without God will. Oh, you think it's just Canada? No. In the United States, those who are alone, life didn't work out the way you thought it would, you're bitter, you're angry, all of this, life ain't turning out the way you thought it would. Well, now, according to the United States, you can have death with dignity. Folks, here are all the states that you can choose. You can walk in right now. Colorado, California, where is death with dignity legal? California, Hawaii, Jersey, Vermont, Colorado, Illinois, New Mexico, Washington, Delaware, Maine, New York, District of Columbia, Montana, Oregon. So guess what? You can choose to put yourself down if the stuff that people took didn't take you out of the way before the real fight begins. See? Because they wanted more people to choose just to go that way. Right? Let me get something to keep my job with them knowing, hey, with this dose, hey, unless there's work in hell or the bosom of Abraham, hey. See? So here are all the states that have already taken it on, and the whole country is considering it. Right? And guess what? The states that are under threat is Illinois, New Jersey. An amendment pending is in New Jersey because these Marxists are behind all of this, who are Satanists. Another name for Satanists, folks, they just call it Marxism. Now, when it comes to believers, it's going to hit believers the most because we have a conscience towards God, family. And when we find out that we're bamboozled with no hope, with no legacy, a lot of our people with conscience aren't going to, in good conscience, choose the mark of the beast. And this is going to be their option they'll have for those with conscience. Let me talk about this before segueing over. Listen to this, fair use. And how many times I've said this for years. And now who? Mike Adams. And they had this also through who? Alex Jones show. And they said everything that I was talking about for years, folks. How really the target is not for AI to help you or chat GPT to help you. Even though it's utilized as a tool. And as long as you keep it just as a tool to research, that's okay. When we start getting personal with it, guess what? It's profiling how you think. And eventually, when the world goes to hell, that will be your friend that will enter your being. brain cells, not chips, power the new data centers, folks. Look at this. They just did a show on what we've been talking about, folks, for over 2-3 years. Without us looking into anything scientific, understanding the Bible, we knew where they were going. Satan is seeking to get to the sides of the north through people, folks, because we're connected to God already.
New data centers will be powered by human brain cells, already are. Now the investment on the future data centers on lab-grown human brain cells, not chips, being the main computing power, is surpassing chip investment.
Listen to it again.
New data centers will be powered by human brain cells, already are. Now the investment on the future data centers on lab-grown human brain cells, not chips, being the main computing power, is surpassing chip investment. New data centers.
Now, brothers and sisters, do you see why the data centers are actually drinking up all the water? Folks, this is one big giant. We're living in the times of the Nephilim, the days of Noah. So where does that leave the righteous? Those who oppose this satanic plan to destroy humanity. Well, let's read this. And folks, Satan have no choice but to throw everything at God's people at once, because the world power's time is up. Jeremiah 30:1, the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, "Thus saith the Most High, Ahiah is his name, the God of Israel, saying, Write all the words that I've spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Most High, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it." Folks, the Gentile nations know that when we began to proclaim our true nation and our true God, and started to proclaim before the earth that we were the children of Israel, they knew the time on their rulership was ticking down. There was no restoration of God's people in 1948. That was them what? Fast-tracking the system we see now to set up the beast to oppose this particular prophecy. All-out war against the children of God. That's what 1948 represented. There was no restoration of the Israelites. That was them speeding up the technology, linking into the dark spirits and all of that, and going into the land of Canaan like the Amorites and the Hittites and all of those were in that position before the Most High brought the walls down on Jericho. Now the Edomites and the other nations are operating from that same location before the Most High bring them down again. There was no restoration of Israel. That was set up to oppose the restoration. And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel. We don't need a DNA test to know. We know who we are. We're not seeking outside validation, outside the God. 5. For thus saith the Most High, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Folks, that's what I'm talking about. The disruption of all society where people are panicking. Ask ye now, see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. It seems like the people have given up hope in 2nd Baruch. At last, for the day is great so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. They're at all out war with us. And many people are going to choose, folks. And it's a shame because people are under these mental illness diagnoses. A lot of their psychiatrists are going to suggest it. Okay? They're going to make human euthanasia a viable medical option. You're going to have people living with much regret, looking back on their life, on some of the opportunities they have squandered, and they're going to look at their life and say, there's nothing to live for because I messed up. I don't want to be here no more. See? And they know many are going to choose that, especially atheists. But our God is saying, well, listen, okay, you messed up. Repent, and I'll still accept you. I'll protect you. I'll save you, and you will be a soldier in my army against these evildoers who gave you a fairy tale, a dream that they knew you could never accomplish, only to take your soul. The Most High will say, listen, I messed up. But our God is saying, well, listen, okay, you messed up. Repent, and I'll still accept you. I'll protect you. I'll save you, and you will be a soldier in my army against these evildoers who gave you a fairy tale, a dream that they knew you could never accomplish, only to take your soul. The Most High will say, listen, guess what? You don't have to give up. You're still useful because I'm in you. Because my spirit still is in you. Up to the scientist. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it, and it is even time for Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, folks. And that's why I thank the Most High that he's given us a haven amongst his body. I thank the Most High that even though we started off with only a few people in a small room teaching the Most High's name, teaching the gospel, that it led to us baptizing many in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, well above any work that I ever imagined would get done. Because we've never done it. We've never set out to do this for what transpired. What transpired and came from this work is the Almighty's power giving us insight to bring people together under one mind to win this fight, to win this battle on earth that starts with truth. With that, I'll see you on the other side. Boy, it's going to be a serious spiritual year as God's people come together in preparation for what's to come. And guess what, folks? Through the Spirit of the Most High, Ahaya Bashim Yeshaya will walk. Many of you have been pulled out of the matrix. Don't be Cyrus. Let me show you Cyrus in the matrix. Don't let the devil turn you into Cyrus. Don't let the devil turn you into Cypher was his name. Cypher. He was pulled out the matrix and he gave up his own people and he turned rogue and became an enemy of the only cause that can help our people.
Do we have a deal?
Mr. Reagan.
I know this steak doesn't exist. The Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious.
Look at Cypher, who was once on the side. Huh?
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. After 9 years, I've dedicated everything, and after 9 years, I'm going to program myself to believe that nothing that I was taught was true. Plug me in. I don't want to remember a thing because ignorant is bliss. A matter of fact, the agents will work for you to attack and to destroy Zion. Folks, look at the Matrix again and check out the work. And look at the work that's before you. Check it out again. And you'll understand everything, folks. Huh? Who's saving Zion and who's seeking to pull Zion apart by what? Joining leagues with the agents. Shalom. I'll see you on the other side. Patreon.com/A Gathering 144. Get on Yasha Allah's team 144. See you on the other side. Blessings. In the land of Egypt. But then we started doing what? We started paying homage to them anyway. Not just in front of Moses, folks. Before the mount of the Most High. And see, and this is why the Most High stated that if you're going to do this work, hey, you have to be patient and long-suffering. Because if we can do this right before the Almighty, what can a mere person tell a person to do? Right? So the golden calf, right? Let's go now, if you will, to Judges. The second chapter. All right, we're at Judges, the second chapter, and 11 through 15.
The book of Judges 2, verse 11.
Yes.
And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Baalim.
And serve Baalim. Baal. Right? Read.
And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the people.
Read. Right? So it was imperative when the Gentiles began to set up religions amongst the children of Israel, be it here in America or South America, that they would set up what? Practices that would have us anger our God. So by default, we stay in subjection to heathens.
That's right.
So it was baked into the religious practices to have us disobey our God intentionally. By doing so, our God stay continually angry with us, and by default, the Gentiles continue their rule over us. See that?
Quick precept.
Let's get that.
Judith 5 and 17.
Judith 5. Grab that. Yeah, Judith 5, verse 17. Read it.
Yes, sir. I'll take it down to 21. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because that God that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and is seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest the Lord defend them, and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
And we become a reproach before all the world. So that's the agreement. If we sin intentionally against the Most High, automatically by default, the Gentiles can execute war continually and win against us. See? So they had it baked in that we will give them a religion where they're continually at war against their God through sin. So if we keep their God angry with them, by default, our rulership over the Israelites are justified. See? That's the rules of engagement. See? And this is why even when I was in the UK, the rabbi said to me outright, Ricard, you can be the Jews, but your people, if they keep sinning, they have to stop sinning. A rabbi said that. Like, you coming at me, and he said, in a nutshell, what he's saying, don't come at me, because I've gained preeminence or power by default of your people's disobedience. See? He said, they gotta follow the law, Ricard. Rabbi was like, I'm gonna do my job. If y'all gonna allow me to be the chosen people by default due to disobedience, he was looking at me and saying, don't come to me. Okay. And guess what? Even though I gave it to him that night, people understood how to come to the Most High and understand the Bible through that interaction, because that's always the overarching scenario for me, right? Not whether or not I'm dealing with a guy and who win or lost. What are people getting out of this that brings them closer to the Almighty? That's the objective, right? But he came straight out with it. Hey, your people got to follow the law. And he's right. And guess what? I couldn't come back and argue that, because he was right. Like, y'all gave us power by sinning. So it's really on the Christian side is where our fault is. It's the Christian's responsibility. The Christian church is to, even though we're under grace. It's not one or the other, it's both. Yes, we're under grace, because without grace, we would have been killed already, destroyed already. Yeah, we're under grace. But you have to teach what? A balance. Here's the law, and this is how you get grace from it. Under certain circumstances, how the Most High give you grace without judging you for breaking a law. Okay? So here it is. Let's go back to Judges real quick, the last piece.
Yes, sir. Judges 2:13.
Judges 2:13. Hold on. Read that for me.
And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtoreth.
So how do we forsake the Lord? worshiping any of these religions that has what? Baal at the helm, folks. Baal is really the god over all these Gentile religions. All of them. I don't care if they say Jesus, God, Allah, it's Baal. It's Baal. Right? So we forsake our God by choosing the lesser gods, the gods of Canaan, the gods of Egypt. And folks, why do you think they called New York Little Babylon? Folks, it's no coincidence that Babylon, New York, especially Manhattan and all those areas around there, the Village and all these areas around there, folks. You think it's a coincidence that the conscious community in the it's a coincidence that the origin of all of those is in New York? The Jewish hub, folks, there's more sorcerers in New York than any other state in the United States. It's the hub of all the ancient religions right there. The Rosicrucians, you got the top Freemason thing. You have the conscious community. The conscious community was created to actually be what? A buffer between the Jews and all that and us to undermine our belief in the Bible. The whole conscious community, folks, is filled with agents. They worship these gods out front. See? Oh, the Bible's tampered with. Oh, the Bible been plagiarized with. Oh, the Bible is a white man's book. They'll go on and on and on. But no, the conscious community don't want us going into the book because it actually identifies the gods they worship in secret. And it shows their intent as enemies. See? They have a problem when we go into the Bible and discuss how our God took down the gods of Egypt. That's personal for them. See? So then they'll come with stuff like, well, there's no history of no Exodus. It all comes back to the same point. This friction between our God and theirs. See? And the Lord and 13, and they forsook the Most High and served who? Ashtoreth. Right? Read. Now, let me show you this, the 13th verse. Let me show you this in the Hebrew. Baal, a Phoenician deity, Baal, right? Same as 1167, Baal, master, and Ashtoreth. Ashtoreth, the name of a Sidonian deity and of a place east of Jordan. Ashtoreth. All of these folks are fallen gods and or goddesses. Folks, these are real powers. Going right back to our lessons on the fallen gods. Worshipped on this side of the flood. Right? Anger.
And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about them, so that they could not any longer stand.
Our people now, our forefathers. And he delivered them into the hands of spoilers. Right? Now, all of these nations can benefit from what? The rich value that comes through God's people. And not fear not fear what their forefathers feared in harming us. See? The children, everything comes through us. So now they're like, okay, let's set up a whole market, an economy throughout the earth now, where now we can benefit on an industrial level off of God's people's spirit and have no fear of their God doing anything against us. Why? Because their God is hot. He's upset with them. So let's exploit him. See? So if you wonder why the media and all these others promote the underbelly, promote debauchery and all of these, even though there's moral people amongst us, because that's not what? That's not financially advantageous for them. Okay? They lose power by promoting morality amongst us. Okay? What keeps them in power is what? Our people showing what? Straight degradation and defiance against God is why they stay in power. See? So they'll get Oprah and say, Oprah, I need you to come on here and push an Eastern religion, some sages and all of that, because you're respected, Oprah. And she'll bring in this sage and all of that. And now, oh, that's how Oprah got rich, blah, 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 blah. If you believe those are her riches. Folks, all of that is a front. Harpy and all of that, folks, all of that is a front. They use us to sell certain packages to our people to keep us under subjection. I'm going to tell you right now, they don't own, even when Barry Gordy did Motown, when it was time, they say, here, 50 million, give me that company. He didn't have a choice. Okay? When Dr. Dre did Beats by Dre, ended up saying, here's, make me, no, they make it look like, oh, he's a billionaire. No, he was just a front person for that company. See, it goes back to the corporations. Ciroc, when it came to Diddy and all that, people didn't even know that wasn't his until he just lost it and went off cold. Straight up, folks. If you believe Oprah owns O and you've been selling the bill of goods, no, she's the front person. She's the front person. Yeah, she's doing well, but if they put a few zeros in front of, in front of some numbers, then automatically that garners respect from the poor. Oh man, she's a mogul. No, she's not. She's a front person. See? They're front people. I mean, look at my man, Russell Simmons. Right? Think about him. He's hanging out in Bali to not get extradited back to the United States. Where's Def Jam? The same people who made Def Jam own Def Jam. See? Rick Rubin, a high-level warlock who was trying to act like some little hip-hop guy back then, was really running the whole shop through the craft. Huh? He was a guy that everybody was my Adidas, Run DMC, Russell Simmons all out in front. Yeah, I'm a mogul and all of this. And this little guy over there looking like a hippie was really the guy running everything through the craft. Huh? Let me show y'all this. Let me show y'all this. And I met Rick Rubin years ago. Right? Let's see here. To show you how they took the gods of ancient Egypt, ancient Canaan, to rule over our people here in the Americas, right? Check this out, folks. Hollywood. Rick Rubin, right? Check out Rick Rubin.
Rick ain't normal. I don't give a fuck. I know producers say
Look,
they idiot.
look, Rick Rubin's house. Excuse the language.
Those secrecies.
Look at this. Freemason hat. Shriners, excuse me. The Shriners.
You know, quirks, weird shit.
Magic white and black.
But he's just strange by strange standards. While we was downstairs doing hardcore rap records and shit, upstairs he had a bunch of people having koala leaves and doing some type of Tibetan freedom concert planning. And when was the last time you seen a
Tibetan freedom concert planning? Right? To broadcast the satanic Canaanite frequencies, folks.
bison in a nigga's studio? Yeah. This nigga had a Grammy. I told you? I was upstairs and the guy behind the shit, he had a Grammy for best.
Look at this. These are temples, folks.
Hey, you gotta love him for that.
Let's go back.
Years into his career, dude ain't changed. He got his own vibe. I mean, it's Rick. You gotta love him for that. You guys just played 8 songs already.
Right? Let's go back again.
Rick ain't normal. I don't give a fuck. I know producers have their idiosyncrasies, meaning, you know, quirks and weird shit. But he just...
Magic white and black. Look at this, folks. And I'm going to tell you the unfortunate thing about this. Rick Rubin truly has talent. That's the unfortunate part about it. He has talent. He can put together something strictly with his skill of growing up, doing music and all of that. But it wasn't enough. He linked into the ancient gods as to why, so that he could become a god amongst the servants. A perfect example of what we're talking about here. And here it is, we're in class today saying, hey, let's not look at it and try to deal with it from the end of the spectrum. The only way to destroy this stuff and understand it is go to the origin and understand what they worship at its origin. See that? And folks, what we're learning here is what they tried to keep us away from. You take away the strength of their gods, like our God did. Where? In Egypt. Guess what, folks? They are weak, without strength. You take away that God component. So they always wanted us to what? Not know our God and reverence the God who gives them power over us. We go and find the origin of their gods and understand what? That these gods are lesser. They're nothing. And through that alone, folks, they're diffused. They're bound. Right? Because there is a code, a line that they cannot cross, folks, spiritually, unless we allow them in and or we capitulate or worship their gods. That is the spiritual rule of engagement. So to why they kept the name of the Most High away from us, and only amongst their secret societies will they reveal first time. But brothers and sisters, when they all come together in their secret places, they worship these gods with these same names out front, but will never speak it. See? But these are the guys they go to real time, like Pharaoh did when our God was jacking things up. Okay. Like, please help me, best. Help me. Like, nah. Went to the God for children and fertility and all that. The boys laid dead. And this is what the Gentiles fear, folks, even Esau. Right? They know the gods we worship now. They have connected to their gods in preparation for his son. All right? They know now. We can no longer pull the wool over their eyes or deceive them. Everything that's planned must go down all at once. And this is why they're throwing everything at the wall against us. Everything. Data centers, space centers, destroying society, debauchery through the media. Okay, AI, everything, Chat GPT, everything they're just throwing at us all at once because it can no longer be hid. They're like, man, Jake is on our heels. Right? Let's go back, Elder.
Yes, sir. Judges 2:15.
Read it.
It says, whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil, as the Lord had said, and as the Lord had sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed.
And they were greatly distressed. So this is why our people are under distress now. Right? The more we worship these gods, the more destitute our people become. Right? Right? Let's go to 1 Kings 12. And there's this thing online that I'm seeing. There's this spirit that people are talking about called Q. And another thing, that's another spirit that's out there. Straight lying that Christ was a serpent in the garden. They're coming with all this crazy stuff right now that makes no sense at all. It's Satan throwing everything at the wall at once. I'm like, no, we're going to stay focused, stay right here and follow the Most High in Christ and follow his law and pray against the powers of this world in the name of Christ, knowing its origin. So instead of keeping, Satan like to throw things at us to keep us on our heels, folks. So we're battling all these unnecessary things instead of focusing on what? Now, if we root out go into this and identify and show you what's holding their construct together. It goes back to the ancient gods. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. We seen our God stop the gods from operating in the land of Egypt. But then we started doing what? We started paying homage to them anyway. Not just in front of Moses, folks, before the mount of the Most High. And saying this is why the Most High stated that if you're going to do this work, hey, you have to be patient and long suffering. Because if we can do this right before the Almighty, what can a mere person tell a person to do? Like, who are you? Right? So the golden calf, right? Let's go now, if you will, to Judges. The second chapter. All right, we're at Judges, the second chapter, and 11 through 15.
The book of Judges 2, verse 11.
Yes.
And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and served Baalim.
And serve Baalim. Baal. Right? Read.
And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger.
Made the Most High angry. Right? So it was imperative when the Gentiles began to set up religions among
Took the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger.
Made the Most High angry. When the Gentiles began to set up religions amongst
the Lord to anger.
Made the Most High angry. Right?